It was good to be with the guys this morning, and excited to get going on this week's preparation. Get ready for another opportunity to play and play against a good Rutgers football team. But it's fun being around the guys and looking forward to a good week.
Paul, one of the guys on Rutgers, I'm sure you recognize Chryst. I mean, he became quite a good return man for you. His return numbers are down this year, but what does he give them both as a returner and also as a receiver as he's developed there?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, he's getting better. But when he was here, thought you saw it, and he's certainly got great speed, and along with it, there was a toughness to it, and was a guy that could make plays with the ball in his hand, and you see that continuing, and you see him continue to develop as a receiver too.
Well, kind of sticking on that same line, what were some of the issues that you guys were able to identify with the kick return on Saturday? Just the first one, especially where Jones got to that right sideline.
Yeah, I mean, you get it, and everyone's got to do a part, and if you don't get off it, and if you don't close it down, and so we didn't at the point where we need to kind of win, we didn't, and then I thought the best part was I thought they answered the bell, and came back and did a great job on the coverage. But that's it's all part of playing the game, and you have oftentimes you've got one-on-one matchups, and you need to do your part in them, and so many times it's if you do your part, it can allow someone else that maybe wins you by a little bit of time, and credit to them, they hit it, and certainly going up again, I think they're really Rutgers teams are really good, well coached, and you see it in special teams, and they're explosive, and they play with great energy and effort, and this will be a good challenge for our special teams unit, certainly.
Y'all traditionally play really solid run defense, but the numbers were even better than they've ever been really this year. What do you think has been the change this year? What's been the difference that allowed y'all to step it up a level there in run defense?
Well, I think it's it takes everyone to do that, and I think that's what you're seeing is everyone doing their part and then some, and I think they're playing with confidence and allowing it to be hard, what I mean, and when it's hard and you get someone then more than one that win, then I think then you get the results, right? But the process and the play is what's enabling that.
Paul, this has been a developmental program for a long time. I'm curious, what are the challenges in this era where it's become easier to transfer, and really like keeping kids happy long enough to where they stick around? Is that any more challenging?
I think it's certainly we're kind of entering into the to this. Last year was such a unique year. I think this year is the first year where you're starting to kind of get a sense of how it plays out, and yet I think that there still is the need for, and I think players want to develop and to grow, and you go back and take a look at all of ours, talking with some of our players that have older players, but then some guys that came back for the weekend, and just talking about, we start going down the list of who are the guys that you'd want to build a team around, and who are the guys that were contributors, and it was amazing how many. There's a journey to get there. We were all kind of, saying for every one JT, there's probably 25, whether it's T.J. Watt or Shobes, Sitch, Dakota, Natrell. You just go down the line, and I think there's still that group that wants that and needs that, and there's no doubt there's others that it's a little bit different agenda, and I think that's when it comes down to still finding the right fit for everyone in the recruiting process. But I think it's it's a necessary part of the development, of it. And I think we've got some guys, we've been fortunate, we've got some guys that have come in and can impact it. Braylon's an example, Nick last year, Chim last year, and so I think there'll always be those guys. And yet I think that there can be a great opportunity if maybe that's not your time. I remember Nick Toon going through it, and there's some other guys that were playing, and he was, so I don't know if that's changed. That part's changed. There's a frustration. You come and you're used to playing and being a really good player, and then all of a sudden now you're not playing. And yet I remember talking to Nick, when he was older, and he's like so thankful that he had that. He felt a better player, and I think that's helps you be who you are through it. So I think it's easier now to leave, and I think like everything, if it's there's choice involved in all of this, and that's a good thing. And certainly we have to be aware of it as a program, and you got to make sure that you're in the recruiting process, in the process while they're here, you're totally upfront and you're talking, and I think as long as guys feel that they are getting a chance to grow, getting a chance to develop, then it's a good thing.
Paul, after the game, you were asked about the play of the offensive line or defensive line, making life easier for the linebackers, that everybody has to do their part. We've asked you about Henningsen and Keanu a lot. Is Isaiah Mullins quietly having a pretty solid year for you, what you guys asked him to do?
Very much so. And that's been, I thought he got off to a good start, and I think that he's continued to build on that. And there's no doubt, and shame on me for not, when you talk about him, because he absolutely has been impacted. And I've also been appreciative of the kind of the development of, Bryson's continuing to go and giving us things, and Rodas comes in. There's confidence in the next guys as well. But it's no doubt Isaiah's. I think he's been playing good football and will continue to. He's still, each experience he can still build on. He doesn't have maybe he's gaining the experience, and when you do, you can truly benefit from it. I think he's gaining confidence through it, and he's been fun to see, kind of his approach and how he's been doing.
Paul, can you put like a value on what Logan Bruss has brought to the offensive line since he's gotten back healthy and playing again? Just the way that he's played the last 2 weeks, probably some of his best play at Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's and we kind of knew going into this year that for us to be as good as we could be, we needed him to play really well, and he's capable of that. And when he is healthy, and now it's been good that he's back and feeling healthy. I think our expectations, his expectations, are high. And each week it's amazing. Each week it's a different challenge, and you get tested differently. But there's a guy that's played in a number of games, and so I think you get to a point where you look forward to those tests and you look forward to those challenges. But it's him being in there and him playing at his best is really good for our offense and good for our team.
Just wondering, getting back to the transfer situation, it seems nationwide, at least from my impression, it seems a lot more people are leaving during the season rather than waiting till the end of the season. Why do you think that's the case? Is it because there are so many more, you're just trying to get your spot at a new school, or why do you think there's more mid-season than end of the year?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that probably what you're saying, there's a thought that if I'm out there, they can start talking to me. And, you can't secure anything. There is no signing. There is no, I think there's also if they don't want to anywhere, if they don't want to be there, if they're not there, I think it's the right thing to not be part of that team. Otherwise that's kind of a false. You can't be. That's what I love about a team, is when it's a group of guys that are all into it, and we always talk about it, that the great thing about being part of a team is it's made up of a bunch of individuals, right? I don't agree with there's no I in team. I think the I is the best part of the team, You know, it's a team is cool 'cause it's made up of all sorts of individuals, but there is something greater than yourself, and that is the team. And so if they're not wanting to be part of that team, I respect them not being there. But I don't know what all goes on with it, but it certainly seems like it. We're hearing more about it. And it's not to say that I think, you know, even before this time, you know, there's guys that were probably thinking it and they would just ride it out. But if you want to be here, it's what it takes. It's not for everyone. If you want to be here, love it, because we know you got to be all in to do this. And if not, then I respect it that they're not here.
Paul, a month ago, this team was 1-3. What led you to believe that the guys in your locker room a month later could still be in a position to win a division championship?
You know, I mean, that's you play out the season and you play it and you take advantage of each moment you get. And you know, I believe in this group. I like the makeup of this group. You know, I like who they are as individuals. I think we have good leadership, and I feel like we, you know, this whole time, you know, we've got enough talent, and certainly you've got to play good football. And if you do those things, then you give yourself a chance. And knew the things that we were doing well and that we had to continue to build on, and knew the things that, you know, we weren't. And how do you try to correct those? And there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. There's still, you know, we can play better football, you know, and we got some individuals and groups playing at a real high level, but I still feel like they can continue to grow, continue to develop, continue to be a little bit better. And everyone's at a certain point, but the one thing we all have is the ability to get better. And I believe in this group, and that has not changed one bit. And you get an opportunity each week, and what can you do and make the most of it? And now we get an opportunity to play Rutgers, and we'll do everything we can this week to make sure that we're prepared and confident to go out and take advantage of the opportunity we get this week.
Paul, you mentioned briefly after the game the third down conversion of your offense, that you guys got off to a good start and then kind of tailed off a bit. It looked like the Iowa defenders, especially early in the second half, did a better job challenging your third down throws. Was there more to it than that? Were there also some opportunities where you guys missed some open guys in addition to that?
Yeah, I thought there was you know, going back through on some early, I thought there was a second down that we could have taken advantage of that now creates a different third down, or maybe no third down. I thought that, you know, we didn't execute as well. You know, I didn't mind what we're doing, and really, you say that and like, no kidding, right? That's the game, right? And when you do execute, but I thought that's where, you know, we had a couple where you just off, and I think there's things we can look at and say, all right, we can do this, and we give ourselves a much better chance. And we didn't do it, you know, on a couple, and I thought those were potential where you say, you know what, we can convert there, and if we do our part, I like our chances on it. And you know, that's a great example of where we got to continue to keep working and keep growing on it. And so, you know, certainly you always have to give credit to the opponent when you don't, right? There's a reason why you didn't execute it, but I think there's enough in our control that you focus on. And there was one where, you know, it was a bad call. You know, it didn't fit the situation. You get something else, I like it. But I thought there was a few that, yeah, we can say, you know, we can own that one and we can get better at it. And I think it can lead to certainly a better chance of converting.
Well, obviously, we're all seeing the production that Nick Herbig's putting out there on Saturdays. What do you see in practice or the way he works that you think that biggest step has happened? Is it more skills that he's had in his belt, or like where do you think that is?
I think none of this happens overnight. And there's a guy that every day, approaches this with great energy, and he will spend as much time as he can, in Coach April's office and wants to truly learn and study the opponent and study and kind of hone in on his craft and plays with great energy and passion. So I think it's not like all of a sudden, boy, he changed and started doing this. He's been a guy that's from the get-go he's got a great purpose and a great drive, and he will work at it, and he's fun to be around. He's, we've got a number of guys like that, and it's contagious, just the way that he approaches it. And then I think if you do it, it becomes kind of who you are. It becomes part of your makeup. And then when you see it happen on Saturdays, it's because that's who he is. And I think it's pretty easy to follow. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes he's got an unbelievable desire to be the best he can be. He's got an unbelievable desire to help this team. And I think you see it on Saturdays in some of those things that we call production, but he does it every day.
Paul, talking about Graham Mertz's confidence after watching the tape, just with the passing game, taking more shots. Did you see something a little different, and how can we expect those same opportunities this upcoming week?
Well, I mean, I think that we're working at it, right? And the games will present times when you've got to take advantage of opportunities, and when you do, you want to be confident and ready to do that. It takes everyone, and I like it. Guys are working at it, and we have confidence in them, and so what can you expect? I don't know. If I did, I wouldn't tell you anyways.
Paul, you mentioned briefly about the way Rutgers plays football. When Shannon took that over the second time, they hadn't experienced success in a long time. Can you just expand on what the type of football you see them play in all three phases that you're going to face this week? Yeah,
starts with a lot of respect for Greg, and you see, you see them. It's a tough team. You can see them play hard. You can see them play well. You can see them doing what they're being asked to do, and you see talented players. And I think, it's been a while since we played them, but when I've had an opportunity to play them, there's talent, but you see it coming together. And like I said, I think, Greg, I think he's got a really good staff, and they're playing what I would say is good football. It's sound football. It's they do enough things that where they can kind of repeat. You can see this is what we want our identity to be, but it's also there's a lot of differences to it. There's a lot of change-ups or things that you can't just get comfortable with. But you see a team that all three phases that. That they want to be a physical team, but you see it on film. It's not just a talk. You turn on the film and you see a good, well-coached, tough team.